The chair would like to now recognize Mr. Stanton for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. And I want to thank Chairman Larson for holding this very important hearing. I want to thank each of the witnesses for your outstanding testimony today. Mr. Andrews, I just want to acknowledge you and say I'm so sorry about the incident of violence that you described earlier that you were the victim of. As someone who is fortunate to travel twice a week to my job in Washington, D.C., I am deeply concerned about the sharp increased number of incidents of disruptive passengers reported by airline crews. Flight attendants, they are on the front lines in dealing with the escalation in disruptive behavior from passengers, and they need the tools and support at all levels, the federal government, from airports, airlines, and others to deal with these challenges. Their primary job is the safety of passengers and crew, yet they are all too frequently finding themselves in difficult situations every day working to de-escalate situations, whether verbal or physical, that have the potential to impact safety. Many of the incidents we have seen reported have been on planes while in flight, but we are also witnessing disruptions within our airports. In the past year, staff at Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport in my state and local police have responded to nearly 3,000 calls of customers being disruptive or assaulting employees or fellow passengers. This is a significant increase from the previous year, and it is not uncommon for our local police to be called to meet a flight with a passenger who has disrupted or interfered with flight crew. My first question is for Mr. Andrews. In your written testimony, you described your experience as a flight attendant, and you described many initiatives that you're advocating for, and I just want to talk about a few of those potential initiatives. Quote, number 8 is increased police and security presence at airports. Number 9, increased monitoring of passengers through the airport TSA and prior to boarding. Number 10, consistent enforcement of the mask mandate throughout the airport and security. Can you describe what you are witnessing in airports and what leads you to make these specific recommendations?
Thank you for that question, sir. I'm noticing on a regular basis when I'm traveling to and to work that there's minimal police presence. There's a shortage in TSA staffage that's impacting how many people can get through or how people are monitored. A shortage at gates with gate agents that's impacting whether or not we have the staffage to cover and monitor passengers as they're boarding the aircraft. Those are some of the things that are leading to some of those suggestions.
Thank you so much. Not only have we witnessed unruly passenger incidents and passengers ignoring the federal mask mandate on board aircraft, but we have seen this kind of activity in the airports themselves. Passengers can be seen without their masks within airports, even though individuals in airports are required by law to wear them. This is my question for Mr. Bidwell. What role are airports currently playing in enforcing federal and sometimes local mask mandates within airport terminals?
Congressman Stanton, thank you very much for the question. Airports do their due diligence to enforce federal security requirements, including the mask mandate. A key part of enforcing the mask mandate is providing support to their airline partners in order to address incidents on the ground. Some airports have encouraged airline representatives to call airport law enforcement at the first sign of a disturbance. And I would also note that just to address something that was mentioned previously, a majority of mask-related incidents do not occur at the airports. And again, just reiterate our support for TSA having increased the civil penalties for violations of the mask mandate.
Thank you. Obviously, this Congress has been very supportive of the industry through the PSP. Thanks for the leadership of President Nelson. We've also been very supportive of nation's airports, knowing how important it is for our economy, especially during and to get us out of the pandemic crisis. But Mr. Bidwell, what additional resources do you think airports need now to ensure a better enforcement of mask mandates?
I think that there have been a number of things that have been done that really assist in this regard. As I mentioned, TSAs having increased the civil penalties. I think another key component of that is for TSA to publicize the number of civil penalty actions instituted against violators of the mask requirements, much like FAA does in publicizing the civil penalties imposed on unruly passengers.
It looks like I'm out of time, so I have to yield back. Thank you very much for those answers.